Can you hear me?
ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಿದೆ.
Okay.
Yeah, hi, good evening, guys. Welcome to the day 3 of our 5 days certification program on OOPS using C++. So we had a session yesterday, so for about 1.5 hours. So if you have any queries on that, you can just go ahead and ask about that regarding the yesterday session. If you don't have any queries, we will continue the session. You can just say in the chat box to continue, or you will have any questions, just put it in the chat box. Kindly use the chat box to send a message. There is only one participant who has given no queries. The other participants, I'm waiting for the answer. Yeah, thank you. So Manjunath will continue the session. Manjunath, you can continue the session, Manjunath. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Yes. Thank you so much, Param. Welcome to the third day of 5 days certification program on OOPS. This session was planned from 20th to 24th of this month. So before starting the session, let me just have a recapitulation on the previous session. That is the Yeah. Let us have a recapitulation on the previous section. Last class, we have discussed on structures of C++ programming, how to write a program, what are the fundamentals we can use on programs, different kinds of operators, control flow statements, and loops. So today, we're going to start the new session, that is OOPS on C++. Why we call C++ popular? Why is it C++ so much popular? C++ generates the code, tends to be more efficient. It is possibly the fastest programming language in this world. So C++ is generally supports all the computer graphics. So that is one of the major concern of the game developers. Structure of C++ program, as I have discussed last class, I'll just brush on that. C++ program is structured in a specific and particular manner. In C++, a program is divided into 3 parts. They are standard library sections, main function sections, and function body sections. These are the 3 kinds of sections we deal in writing the program. So the first section we speak or we talk about the standard library section, that is about the header files or the beginning stage of the program. So what is this header files or what is this preprocessor commands? These preprocessor commands are used for the entire text of the files, the file IO stream, using the insertion of IO stream, which is a standard file that should come with the C++ compiler. It is a standard file in any compiler. When we start writing the program, IO stream you can see that is nothing but inputting and outputting the stream. I mean to say C in and C out of the program. This command contains for displaying and getting the user inputs. The next one you see in the next line is a namespace. That is a prefix used for C out and C in. That is the end line of the program. which defines the IOStream files. This is the standard library section. Second section was main function sections. In main function sections, the function body or the main function, the main class is the important class of the programming section. This function is called by the operating system when your program is executed by the computer. So followed by the flower bracket signifies the starting block and the ending block of the program. So whenever you start writing the blocks, particular section of the program, then you need to use flower brackets. Opening flower brackets, and as much as you want to write the syntax on that, you write the syntax and close the bracket so that it will end the blocks of the section. This is about the main section of the function. Next one is the function body section. The function cout is short for character output and displays whatever it is been in the bracket. The symbol such as insertion operator can also behave like a function and are used with the keywords cout. After the return statement, execution control returns the operating system, and then finally the execution of the code terminates at the end of the body section. These are the three functions of programming. These are the three functions of programming. The first function was standard library functions. I mean to say standard library sections. Second one was main function sections. The third one was function body sections. So let us go to the next slide. What is the use of cin and cout? So I have explained you in the earlier classes. Let us not waste time on this. Cin is just to accept the information, and cout is for displaying the output on the screen. Next one. So this is what I was waiting. History of OOPS. So in this session, we will be looking forward for the history of OOPS. Well, I'm sure this is the time my learners could love to hear the multiple times. I also know that this happens to be one of the most popular terms in programming circle. Why is it such an important term called OOPS? What is so good about that? What is it as a programmer could achieve in case of some principles of oriented programming language? Why is it so important by expecting the principles of object-oriented programming? The term object-oriented programming was first coined by an individual called Alan Kay. In fact, the first oriented language was not Java, neither was C++. I'm just giving a brief explanation about the history, then we'll have a discussion on that. So the first was neither C++ nor Java. The first was called as Simula. It was in 1962 for the first time the language Simula came in existence. The concepts such as object, class, subclass, inheritance, along with virtual methods. In fact, this came a language after Simula. The second language came after Simula was Smalltalk in 1972. It was considered more object-oriented than Simula. So as and when the days progressed, the updation of the programming language took place. So the first one was Simula, and the second one was Smalltalk, which was developed in 1972. It was Alan Kay with his two friends created this language. In fact, I would like to emphasize the fact that both C++ as well as Java has been influenced by Simula. C++ was developed by taking the good features of C and Simula. So when they developed C++, the inheritance of C and Simula was initiated and combined and created the hybrid programming language called C++. This section we will definitely discuss on the understanding of object-oriented programming is important for a programmer. So let's get started. So before starting, I would like to start with a small program. Program to illustrate the working of objects and so in this program, I'm going to discuss on the objects and class in C++. What is object? What is class? So first, before that, I will give an explanation on objects. The basic building blocks of designing programs. Object may represent a person, place, or a table of data. An object is a collection of data members and associated member functions. So here I have taken two parts, that is private and public. So the header file as IOStream and the namespace standard, the class. So once I take the class name as test, here I am going to input two data here. One is data1 and the other one is data2. Both holds the data type int and private. Private is a function which can access only in particular places. What is private? Private can access only by the function inside the class. So when you open the class, in the class, whatever the private data or the data types are used that can access in the class, they are not allowed to access directly by the objects. You have, so here you can see this private here. The function, it can be accessed only by the function method. Okay, you can access only the function method. It can have access only inside the class. When you create a class of name as test here, then that can access only the private members. So you cannot access outside the class. So next, when I come out of this, so public, what is public? Public can access any part of the program. So here I have used the data as data1 and data2. So here void int data int d. So here the data1, what I'm going to store in data1, you need to understand that what is the use of data1 use here and what is the use of data2 here. So in the big taking data1 is equal to d, so the variable I'm taking as d. So once it is done, then cout. In cout, in double quotes, I will just type the word called numbers. So followed by the numbers data1. So this data1 will invoke the and accept this data1 will directly invoke the data1 here, and whatever inputs you have taken here, that will be accepted here. That is the prior public part of this. Second is float. Here I'm using the whole number as a data type. So data type I have used as int. In int I can use only the whole number, integers, etc. You cannot use the decimal part. In the second section of this program, I am using the data type as float. In this float, I want to insert a float data. I want to insert a float data. So inserting a float data is nothing but I am giving the decimal numbers. So to enter the decimal numbers, again, the cout I'm using here. In cout, \n, enter data. See, what is this? Why I'm using \n here? Because \n is an escape sequence in C++. Escape sequence will help you to go, that is a special keys used in the keyboard so that the cursor will automatically go to the next line. Number followed by the data what I have entered here, that will be printed. Next time when it prints, it should not print in the same line. It should not print in the same line. So you don't want to print it in the same line. So what is the next sentence you want to print? So I want to print enter data, but it should not come in the same line. Use \n. So when I use this \n, the cursor will automatically come to the next line. So after coming to the next line, the statement goes like this: enter data. C in data 2. So second time the data what I'm entering is, it should be a floating point literals. I mean to say it should be a decimal number. So returns data, it will return to the main function here. It will return to the main class function. After this, you need to create an object of this class. So main is declared here. Testing. So here we are testing the class object name. Here we are just discussing about the class. In this class, we are invoking the values in whole number as integer and float number as decimal. This is the class part of this program. And next section, this block deals with the object part. So what is this object part? So test. I'm testing this program to print the number is the object and the class similar to each other. So test 0, 1, or I have O1 and O2. So I am inserting two data variables here. So O1 can be invoked as data1 and O2 can be invoked as data2. So you need to understand this carefully. O1 is nothing but the data1 and O2 is nothing but the data2. What we are doing in this program is the data what we have entered is the same as the data which is entered in the second one. We are checking float, second data of object 2. So O1 dot insert data type 12. So any number you can put it here. This is the number of characters you can accept in this integers. So now what happens? O1 dot integer insert data. Okay, next one is the second data of the object is equal to 002. Means the first data and the second data both are same or not. If it is same, if the condition is satisfied in this, if the condition is satisfied, what the output it has to print. And the next third line in the output you have to print as you have entered second data of object 2 is. So first data what we have entered is the data of integers and the second data is the second numbers. So after that, return to the main function and compile this program. Once you compile this program, you will see number is 12. I have given enter data. So whatever that data I am entering here, see here, whatever the data I am entering here, O1 dot insert integer data 12. So the number is 12 here. And second data, the number what you entered, the number has to be repeated twice. That is why we have used is equal to symbol. So it is in assigning value of O1 is equal to O2 and insert float data. So what I will do here, I will take the decimal number here. Let me take as 5.5 here. So 5.5 is the O1 data that is in float data type. If I press enter, the last segment of this program is see out you have entered. So you have entered. This is the enter data. The next one it has to print you have entered. In this you have entered second data of object 2. Second data of object 2, what it has to print is press enter. You have entered 5.5. So why we are having the same output here? Because the first data was 01, I mean to say O1, and the second was O2. So in between I'm using the assignment symbol, that is equal to symbol. So this is how the value of 1 is copied to the second stage of this program. So the output says the number what I have input in this O1 is 12. The data what I'm inputting is 5.5. When I use this 5.5 float decimal point, then the number is entered as it is copied on the next. So this is the difference of class and object. So class is nothing but the object. Class is the inheritance of the object. I'll close this now. We'll go to the PPT section. Now you have any queries on this program, you can just put your suggestions on this chat box so that I can start the OOPS concept. Any queries? Okay, let us go to the next slide of this programming section. So the next session is on, we are discussing on the OOPS concept. There are different kinds of OOPS concept. They are class, object, abstraction, inheritance, polymorphism, encapsulation, message passing. These are the different of OOPS. Today, in this session, we are going to discuss on the various aspects of OOPS, that is object-oriented programming. The objectives are, we will have an overview of object-oriented programming, which we discussed till now. Now, let us understand the concept of objects, class, and other related terminologies. Advantages of OOPS in programming section, and limitations, and the different kinds of application areas where OOPS is used. So I've told you the different kinds. They are objects, class, data abstraction, data encapsulation, inheritance, function overloading, polymorphism, dynamic binding, and message passing. So object. So what I'm going to take is, and I'm taking an example of the object. Here, object is nothing but, I'm taking example, apple, orange, mango are the object of class fruit. So you should understand what is the class and what is the object. Here, fruit is a class. I'm taking an example now. Fruit is a class. In fruit, what are the different kinds of fruits available? Those are called as the objects of the class. So apple is a fruit content. Orange, mango, these are all the class objects. Object takes some space in the memory and have associated with them. For example, the object can interact with one another without having to know the details or the background details or function within the object. So, see, we can see here, I have taken one more example here. Let us discuss in detail. So car is a class. There are different kinds of cars here. Only the class we can call it as car. So in car, there are different kinds of attributes and functionalities. So when you go to buy a car, you are not going to buy only a car. You'll see all the features of the car, color of the car, speed, all those things. So in attribute section, you will see the color. What kind of color is there? What is the speed of the car? And these kind of attributes are called as data members. And the functionalities. The function of the car. The function of the car is to get fuel, put the full fuel and get speed. So I have just taken few examples here. The functionalities may be n number. See, the wheel is turning, the steering is turning, engine is on more. All those can be functionalities. Those are called as functions or method. At the outset, the car is a class and the object of the car is attributes and functionalities. So in functionalities, different things are there. You can put fuel, you can see the speed of the car and so on. And in attributes, color and speed. So color and speed and basic things are the data members, and the internal part functionality is the function or the method. So here I'm taking one more example of objects here. If you take an example of student, so students and teachers, the data members and functions will be different. So what is the difference between student? See, each time when you take an example of object and a class, the functionalities and the attributes will be different. So here for students, the attributes might be name, register number, course. But in the teachers, you cannot go for name, register number, course. It should be a different criteria. So I'm taking your teachers as name, subject, and course. These are the data members. So what, by using these data members, what you're going to do with this? By using these data members, we are getting the member functions called get data and display data. So get data is nothing but the data is used to take inputs. So whatever the data member is received, the get data function will help you to receive the inputs and display it in the output part. So get data is used to accept the data and do the calculation part or the internal section of the part or the digestion process of the part, and then once it is executed, it has to display on the output screen. Same goes with the teacher as well. Teacher, name, subject, and course, and the member function is get data and display data. So in this both example, get data, students get data, display data, and teachers get data and display data the same, but the data members are different. So you should understand the difference between the class and the object. Class is the main of the program and the object is being inherited by the class. Now let us discuss about the class now. Class, the object that contains data and code to manipulate data. The object can be made user-friendly. The class is the way of grouping objects having similar characteristics. One of the class define any number of objects of that class are created. So here I have taken one more example to make you still more better understanding. Class is a collection of objects. So it might be any number of objects. You can create any number of objects by using class. Without the class, you cannot create the object. Keep it in mind. So if you create an object without class, that doesn't work here. So example, I'm taking a savings bank account in a class. So I have an account in bank. My account might be a saving bank account or current account. So if I have a saving bank SB account, what are the variables I should have? The variables might be account number, account holder name, address, all those things. These are the basic information we take, that is the data members. So here, a person who has saving bank account. Saving bank account is a class, a person is an object. Saving bank account is a class. Why? Because saving bank account, any number of people can open account. It might be A, B, C till Z or any number X, Y, Z till the nth number. So the class should be clear. If your class is a saving bank account, then in this, what are the things you have? You should have a person name and followed by the data members as account number, account holder, and all those things. Let us go to the next slide. Now, this slide shows you the access specifiers, member functions. The class name I have user defined as class name here, access specifier. So here, let me discuss little on access specifier. What is access specifier? There are different kinds of access specifier. They are public, private, and protected. So what is this public? What is this private? What is this protected? So these are different kinds of notation here. Public, that is public. All the declared under public will be available to everyone. See here, if you use the access specifier in this stage of the program, that can be accessed throughout the program by everyone. Any syntax, any functions, or any method can be accessed from beginning till the end of the block. But when you go for the private access specifier, the class member declared private can access only the function inside the class. So what is it private? Private, when you open the block in between the class name, so it can access only the particular block, not outside the block. That is private. The next one is the protected. Protected access modifier. is similar to the private access modifier. The difference is that the class member declared as protected are inaccessible outside the class. Means the class member, the protected, whichever the block you use and you use protected, that is protected by the class name and it cannot be accessed outside the class. So finally we can say private and protected are completely depend on the particular block, and public can access throughout the program of the section. Next one is the to be used, and member function. There are different kinds of methods or functions depending on the programs we do this. Between the class and object. Class is the data type and object is instance of a class. As I discussed, class is a data type. So class, for example, I told you car. Car is the data type, and what you can say, Maruti, Benz, those are all are the object of the class or the instance of the class. And in class, it can generate any number of objects, but here you cannot generate any number of objects. It gives life to the class. When you access the object through class, the life span of the class will be more. Does not occupy memory location. Class will not occupy any memory location. Object will occupy the memory location of the class. That is about the class and object. Now, any queries on this class and objects, you can put your queries in the chat box so that I can proceed for the next segment called abstraction. Okay, somebody is telling to reduce the speed. Okay. Yeah.
Sir, actually, I didn't get the difference between the objects and the data member. So can you explain it again?
Yes, yes, yes. So, the question was, I didn't get the difference between object and the data members. See, very important is first you need to understand the class. So, because of the class only, you can create the object. So, the object and the data members. See here in object, you can take any kinds of data members. I'll go to this section. So you can see here data members, this is object. So student object data members are different and teachers object data members are different. It depends on the class which you are taking. So in the previous example, I took car. The car's data members are different and the students data members are different and teachers the data members are different depending on the class. So that is the difference between object and the data members. Depending on the class, the object will create, and depending on the object, the data members can be initialized.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Let's go to abstraction now.
Query, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, in the access specifier, sir, what are protected ones?
So protected one is the one which works only to the particular block of the program. When you open flower bracket and use the program section as protected and use your data variables and the functions, whatever you use in that particular block, that will work only for the particular block only. It cannot access outside the class. I mean to say it cannot access outside that block. Open flower bracket and close flower bracket. Inside that, if you use then the protected will work only on the particular block and it cannot access outside the class. But when you use public, that public, any syntax or any method can be accessed throughout the segment of the program or throughout the execution of the program. For example, if you are using function overloading, you use multiple number of classes. So when you use multiple number of classes, if you use the word called public, the particular block of that program will access to particular block only. It cannot access in other blocks. So in the output part that work, it will work, but in the same segment, it cannot access. That is private.
It will be good if you can explain it with an example, so it will be more clear.
Okay.
And so one more thing, sir. So is protect and private access specifiers the same? Because they both are access between the braces. Because I suppose they both have the same specifications, the private and the protected access specifier. So are they same, or there is any difference between them?
See, in program, you open multiple number of blocks, opening flower bracket and close flower bracket. So public will have access for all the blocks. Okay, and private will have access to the particular block of the program, and the protected also will have a particular block of the program. You can say protected can have more than one flower bracket open and close blocks, and private also, but public can access throughout the program. So one more time I'll tell you, public, the public is nothing but the members are accessible from outside the class also. So when you use the class name as public, so whatever the methods you use in the program can be accessed outside the class. Whereas private, the members cannot access or view only from outside the class. See, in this segment, I have shown only one program, one segment here. So next, when I take up the program section, I will explain you about the private and public in detail. So I have those programs in the slide, so that next coming abstraction and encapsulation and all, I will explain you about the public and private in detail, because I have used those private and public.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. In the programming section, you will be understanding in detail, okay? So abstraction, let us come to abstraction now. Abstraction, data abstraction permits the user to use an object without knowing its internal working. So abstraction refers to the process of representing essential features without including the details or explanation. The best example I would give is for abstraction is the car itself. So when you get inside the car, you start the car. Okay, when you start the car, you can feel the movement, or feel the vibration of the car. That is, the engine got started. And once you start, and once you put the first gear of the car, your car will start moving. Yes, when the car starts moving, you cannot see the internal part, whether the engine is moving, engine is working, how the engine process is happening, what are the steps taken for the engine, how the engine process is working, you cannot see. But you can feel that the car is under on, or the car is under process and it is working. So that is the very essential abstraction, I could say. So when you start the car, when you move the car, you cannot see the internal features or explanation, but you can use the car. That is abstraction. Now I would say one, you can take in mango. Mango, you want a mango juice. So you'll put it in the mixer. Okay, once you put the mango sliced one in the mixer and start the mixing, you cannot see the internal part, what is happening inside this mixer box. Okay, but once the process is completed, you can see the juice there. So that is abstraction. Abstraction is nothing but you cannot see the internal features or essential features without knowing the details or explanation. So let us go for an example now. Okay. So now what I will do is I'll create a new class. See here, till now I have kept all the programs ready. I will open the abstraction, new class. So here let us work line by line. So the first syntax I is ash include IOStream. Enter ash include. Okay, now till now I have not used math.h. Now I'm using math.h to explain you the features of abstraction. So till now we were only discussing on IOStream, that is input output stream reader. In this program, by using this mathematical function called math.h, we'll understand in detail about the abstraction. Next is the using namespace, using standard Okay, now this is the basic details of the program, any program when we start doing that. Next thing what I have to do is I have to initialize the variable to do some calculations. So this program is particularly meant for calculation. So I'll take a variable called int n is equal to 4. Okay, what I'm going to initialize is 4. The value is 4 and the variable is n and the data type is int. So 4 is the value stored in n. So that is the variable here. So after that, I want to create one more variable. I want to create one more data type int. I will take power of that. Power, P-O-W-E, power is equal to 3. Power is equal to 3. So the number is 4 and the power is 3. And what is the output? This is the data member function of the object class main. Now int, I am taking the data type int again. Int result is equal to power of n comma power. Okay. Now what I will do, I'll come to the next line. By seeing this only, you should understand what program I am going to execute now. The value of the program is n and the power of that is 4 to the power of 3. So 4 to the power of 3, what is the calculation? So once the calculation is happening, you can see the calculation which the compiler does internally. So it gives you the output on the output screen, that is abstraction. So let us go to the next line, that is cube of n is. So syntax is nothing but this will print on the output screen. It doesn't have anything to do with the calculation part. Next, what I have to do is I have to go for insertion operator, result. Again insertion operator, standard of that, colon, end line, end L. return to the main and floor bracket. So this is a basic simple program for abstraction. See now what I have done is n is equal 4 and power is 3. So this method will help you to do the calculation part. Power of n. What is the power of n? So 4 to the power 3, 4 cube. So cube of n is result. What is this result? The result, the calculation part will be done in this segment and that will be stored here. I mean the result will invoke this result and take the valid output and print it in this part of the line. Okay, after printing that, end the line and return to the main position and see the output. So here whatever the calculation part happens in this part is an abstraction which cannot be seen. I mean to say essential cannot be seen without including the details or explanation. So n power 3, this is a mathematical function. So one thing I would say is if I remove this header file and program, you will find error. Okay, you'll find the error. See here, you cannot in. See, there are so many errors here because you don't have an header file supporting this syntax, supporting this calculation part. So Control Z. Now what I will do is I will compile this program. See here, cube of n is 64. So here the answer is given here. What is the process? What is the internal mechanism took place? You cannot see. That is abstraction. Not only deals here or in anything, any program for that matter, whatever the mathematical calculation you give to the compiler, the internal part will work internally and give you the relevant output. That is abstraction. Any doubts here?
Sir?
Yeah, any doubts in this?
Yes, sir. In the 10th statement, why we are using this double semicolons in front of STD?
Yes, I will tell you.
Sir, can you please explain the whole 10th line?
Sorry again, I didn't get you. What is your question?
So can you please explain the whole 10th line?
Okay. So first I will clear with this double colon. The double colon is an operator, okay, also known as method reference operator in C++. It is used to call a method. Referring to it, it is used to call a method. See, the method what I'm using is result. In this method, the function is been floated here. So double colon will help you to call the method. The only difference is it has a expression that is used directly to reference the method instead of providing the other method. So double colon is used to refer the method. See, when you use this double colon, that is an operator, and that operator will refer the method wherever the method is used, and through the method the functionality of that method is being calculated and that will be ended in the result process. You want me to explain the whole program one more time?
Yes, sir.
One more
Yeah.
point is in the
Yeah,
10th
tell
statement.
me.
So what will happen if we use only one single colon over there instead of double colons?
See, this is an operator. If you put one single colon, that doesn't give a name as an operator, colon operator, double colon operator. See here, for example, if this is equal to symbol, is equal to symbol, we know that it is an is equal to symbol, but in programming, that is an assignment operator. If you remove this is equal to symbol, there is no meaning for int power 3 semicolon. Okay, so when you want to assign a value, you need to use an operator called is equal to. Same way here also, when you want to invoke any method or function, then it has to refer for double. That is the operator we are using in this segment.
Thank you.
And if you remove this math.h, and then the calculation part will not take place.
One more thing, sir.
Tell me.
So over there, after we specifying int main, sir, we are using indentation for int, and then it's proceeding int. Sir, why are we using indentation over there?
See, the data type you can use here double also, no problem. Double also you can use, okay, but you cannot use char here, CHA or char you cannot use. So the data type what you're using is a char, means you're not initializing the alphabets here. So alphabets might be, for example, I will go for A. If you're initializing like this, then you can go for char. Your question was why we are using int every time, correct? Okay,
Sir,
so yeah.
sir, my query was we are using indentation in front of the power as after specifying int n is equal to 4, we
Yeah.
are providing a tab and then stating int power is equal to 3.
Yes.
So why are we doing so? Why are we providing the tab over there?
So we are not providing any tab here, just one space is required because namespace in C++ I would say is the white space. You should know what is white space here.
Hello.
So,
I guess
so
the
not
question is
after,
why we are providing the space before int.
before, yes,
So
yeah, exactly. It was
I guess it doesn't
Before
matter in C++
no,
if we give tab or not. It doesn't matter at all.
like that. See here, it's not space. You can bring everything to the beginning of the line, no issues. Okay, no tab, nothing. You can bring it to the beginning, no issues.
So,
okay,
so
sir.
one more
Okay, sir.
question, sir. One
It's
more
not
question.
there. Put your syntax, no issues. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Because, sir, in Python programming, sir, indentation gives out an error.
No issues. You can put it anywhere. Int. I'm using the int data type. So here I'm using 3 times int because 3 times I'm giving the value. One is for n and other one is for power. And after giving this, what should be the calculation? So for calculation, I'm using power in bracket n comma power. So this syntax as a connection with math.h. So if you remove this math, you want to see the output, you cannot see that. Let us try once. If I delete this and compile the program, the mathematical program int main cannot happen.
Sir,
You can see here now.
sir,
Yeah,
sir, in Turbo C++ where background screen is blue color, in that also if we can write anywhere the instructions int n is equal to
you
4
can write no
anywhere.
issues. No issues. You can write anywhere. You want to use to make your program more clear, means you can put it like this.
Sir.
Or we can use simply from beginning of the line.
See, that is because what happens here, beginning of the line or end of the line, there is no space, backspace or anything like that. It can be initialized, no issues.
Okay, sir.
Excuse me, sir. I have a question.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, like in line 3, you kind of declared a function standard.
Line 3 is using namespace.
Okay, sir. Sir, in line 10, the result is,
Okay.
yes, sir, at the end of line 10, result standard. We are again referring to namespace over there.
Yes, yes, because the beginning and ending has to be. So if you go for web designing also, opening block, opening tag and closing tag, you might seen that opening tag and closing tag. Same goes like this. You have to start with the standard with the double colon operator and end with the double colon operator. And at the end, finishing the point is end L. End L is the end of the line and then returns to the main position.
Okay, sir.
Sir, So what will
tell me.
happen if we do not use the standard and double colon, if we directly write C out and cube of n? So will it show the result?
You mean to say if I delete this, what will happen, right? Let me,
If
let
we do
me
not,
show you.
yeah.
Let me show you now. I have deleted that stand double colon operator and I'll compile this program. No issues. You can use directly or you cannot use also, no problem. The cube of n is 64. You can get the output. So why we are using is that it is directly invoking here, or see from standard, this is invoking and this is also invoking. I mean to say standard here, the result is being stored in this by using this syntax, correct? Okay, directly can be invoked, or if you this is not working, then IO exception will handle, that is throw IO exception. But in this C++ we don't have IO exception, that is in Java, so you can remove this also, no issues. Good question. I'll remove this standard with double colon operator also. Any questions, any queries now?
No, sir. Okay, thank you.
Is all the doubts clarified?
Sir, please compile it with this result
Yes,
only.
yes. Yeah, I will compile this program. The compiling program is n, cube of n is 64. See, yeah, 4 to the power of 3. 4 to the power of 3, 4 4 is 16. 16. The cube of this is 64. Can you see the calculation there? 4 to the power of 3. If you see the calculation, if you do work out on that, the answer is 64. The output of this program is 64. The internal mechanism, whatever happening, was an abstraction. That is a compiler process, and that is how the output we get from the compiler. I'm using Dev D++ compiler. You can use Turbo C++ or Turbo C++ or DOS command. See, any kind of compiler you can use. I'm using the latest version. Still more advanced version might be there, but this is more friendly for me. So if you're comfortable with the blue screen, which is a DOS command, that also you can use. But the drawback of that Turbo C++ is, so sometimes your mouse will not work. Only with the keypad only you need to work. Is it correct? So that is the character user interface, CUI. The entire compiler works on character user interface. But in this Dev D++, this is a graphical user interface. Where you can use your mouse, you can use your options, everything by using the mouse. Any options you want to go, you can go. But in C++, Turbo C++, what happens? You need to use the keyboard. The drawback is you need to understand the codes of that. If you forget the code, if you're not giving the proper command, then you cannot execute it properly. Whereas in C++, this is Dev D++, any kind of errors can be shown in this compilation result, errors and warning, and complete detail of the program will be shown here. There also it will show you what is error, how many errors are there in this program, what is warning, how many warnings are there in this program, shows. Okay, but this gives you more clarity than the DOS command Turbo C++. Okay. Any doubts? Is the doubt clarified?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can I proceed to the next segment?
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Okay. So we finished with the abstraction program. Now encapsulation. So encapsulation, see here you can see the example, what I have shown you here, it is a capsule. A capsule of methods and variables. So I will read the advantages first. The main advantage of using encapsulation is to secure the data from other methods. When we make a data private, then these data only used within the class. So there was a question on why we use private. You can see when you use private, then the data is used within the class. It cannot be accessed outside the class. It provides abstraction between the object and the client. Client is nothing but the user who is giving input to the program, and protects an object from unwanted access by client. See, for example, anybody else can access the program and destroy your program. All those things can happen. Okay, it can hamper your program. So what happens if you use this protect? It cannot be disturbed by any other client. Example is bank application. Forbid a client to change account balance. See, a bank application, see, when you see a bank application, you all give you information. So anybody else cannot change your bank details, your name, your amount, all those things you cannot change. Okay, that is important. So that is encapsulation. Encapsulation is nothing but data encapsulation is nothing but data and function in a single unit. So data can and function, two things. The data what you are accepting and the functions what you are doing for with using the data in a single unit is called data encapsulation. It will prevent direct access to the data. The data can be accessed only through the method and function inside the class. In C++ program, you implement a class with public and private members is an. So there are two fundamentals of encapsulation. Let us discuss on two fundamentals. First one is program segment. Second one is program data. So both are different kinds of fundamentals. Program section or the statements in this part of the program that performs action and they are called functions. See, when you start a public void public main or int main and open the flower bracket and start writing your methods, that method has a perform action in the particular function only. It cannot access outside the function. Program data. Data is important of a program which gets affected by the program function. See, program data is what the data what you have used. It should not be misused by unwanted clients. That is one thing. Encapsulation is a OOPS concept that binds together the data and that manipulates the data. Data encapsulation leads to the important concept of OOPS. Let us go for encapsulation one program and understand in detail. Okay. So here again, I have taken kept the program ready for you. So class adder. Here I'm using the class name as adder, and your public is there and your private is there. There was a query on private. So in this program, you'll understand in detail about the access specifier of private. Okay. So the public, private and protected are the access specifiers. Now adder. Now adder int I is equal to 0, total of I. So I am giving initialization of putting the number as 0. I is equal to 0. Total of I is whatever the number you input, it will accept. Now what interface the outside world? What kind of numbers you want to input? That is int number. Is it a integer number? Is it a float number? Is it a double character number? What size of number you're going to input here? So I'm putting it here int so that I'm taking a small number. If you want to take a big number, you use double here. Okay. After that, total is equal plus is equal to number. That will add all the numbers. World int get data or get total. So what is the total number we are using? So these are all outside the world. See, the main is not open still here. Okay. The class is open. In the class, I have initialized public. In this public, I'm just interfacing the outside world. That is total is equal to number. The number, whatever the number you are inputting, that should get additional one by one. So after adding all the numbers, what should be the output of that? What in the outside world, I mean to say in the output screen, it should get total. Okay, it should get total. After total, it should return total there. Means what? It has to calculate the total part of that. So this is the outside world. See, this is the outside world which is accessed anywhere from the block. Here I have one block here. See here, I have one block here, and again this is one more block here. This is called blocks. This block can be accessed from anywhere of the program. This block can access from anywhere of the program. Now let us go to the private. So private access specifier was there. So this is hidden data from outside world because we have used private here. So total whatever you do, it cannot be manipulated, it cannot change, or it cannot be disturbed, or it cannot be spoiled by any user or the client. So we use private here. In the output screen, when you get the total used is depending on the value of numbers you input and the addition of that number, how many numbers you are going to input. So here in this part, private, it shows only in the output screen. Now the next one is the main. What I'm going to do with these numbers? Okay, adder A. I'm taking a variable as A and I'm using the class name adder, which is the class name adder here. So when I create the main and the adder here, whatever this is being written here, it will directly stored in this main. Okay, and then the adder A. So adder A, add number 10. E dot add number 20, add number 30. I've given 3 numbers here. Now what to do with these numbers? What to do with these numbers? I'm just showing the next segment. Total A dot get total. So here total A dot get total. I'm getting the total. Okay, get total is here. This is from outside the world. That is in the public segment. That is in the public segment, and it goes on till the second A and third A. Okay, and then returns the number with 0 as main. It will come and store the complete information on the main segment, and then the program completes. Here 10, 20 and 30 is there. Now I'll compile and just show you the output, then we'll discuss on this program. Okay, total is 60. Okay, total is 60. I'll show you now. So here, okay, total is 60 here. So add number 1, that is 10, add number is 20, number is 30. So all 3 is being done by using this plus symbol, plus number. So the first number was 10, again plus was used, addition was used, again number 20 was used, again plus is used, again the third number was used, again plus is used. Total will be stored in this private section of access specifier, and at the end what happens, get total. So whatever the number calculation took place, whatever the main is accepting, there are 3 segments, 3 syntax the main is accepting, that is 10, 20 and 30, 30, 20 and 10. The total of that is 60. So the total of that is in this total get total. So in this A is the object created of adder. A is the object created of that adder. Adder is nothing but A, and A is accepted here. In this A, get me the total. Get me the total of A, get me the total of B, get me the total of C. It goes like that, and get the total and end the line with returns to 0 as main, returns to the main. Now after that, the output is total is 60. This is about encapsulation, wrapping up of data and function into single unit. See here, I'm wrapping up data. See here, this is one kind of data, and the number is here, and the total is here. These 3 are wrapped inside this adder of A. That is 3 segments, 3 values, that is 10, 20 and 30. All are wrapped together to get an answer, that is get total. Get total was 60. That is encapsulation. Data encapsulation means complete a segment, whatever you have done from beginning till the end is wrapped in this main function by using different syntax of calculation, 10, 20, 30, and goes on. And the final one will be stored in this get total and end the line and return to the main. And the output will be 60. Now, any doubts, you can place your queries on the chat box.
Sir, I have a doubt. Sir,
Yeah.
in this program, why we are like taking 3 kind of variables like A, B, C, like for 10, 20 and 30. Why can't we add them like together? Why we have to define them
See,
separately?
the thing is, you can take one A, B, C, but we have not initialized any variable in the beginning. Int A, comma B, comma C, semicolon, or int A is equal to 10, int B is equal to 20, int C is equal to 30. We have not initialized in the beginning. So we are creating an object of this adder as A. You can see here adder as A. In this adder, I am going to store any number of numbers. So first time I'm storing 10, second time I'm storing 20, and third time I'm storing 30. Means what? The main is I'm not giving any data types. I'm not initializing the variable with the value in the beginning of the program. That is why encapsulation holds good for programming section. So that is why it is very, very important in programming section. Okay, so we are creating the adders main as A, and so here you can use adder or anything, but when you create an object of an adder as A, then you need to use A here. Every time A, instead of A, if you put B here, compile, see there is an error here. Can you see the error here? So you have created an object of this adder as A, so you need to access or do as A only.
So is it possible that we can add them together in only one single variable?
Yeah, it is possible. See here, if you initialize variable, that is arithmetic operators, I showed you in the previous class. Int A is equal to, for example, I'll tell you orally. I'll show you here. Int A is equal to 10. Int B is equal to 20. Int C is equal to A plus B colon. If you use this kind of syntax, then automatically what happens? 10 plus 20 is 30. The answer can be given like this also. We cannot tell this as an encapsulation. This is about assigning the value by using the arithmetic operator. But to use it private for total and encapsulating all the member functions and functions in one A is encapsulation. This program is on encapsulation, not on arithmetic operators. So I'm not using this three syntax here.
Okay, sir, I got it.
Thank you so much.
Anybody have any questions? They can go ahead and post in the chat box. Yes, the PPT and the programs will be sent. The PPTs and programs will be sent. Any other questions? Anybody else has any questions to ask? PPT will be shared around 10:30 or 11 o'clock. I think first today we had shared the PPT. That was the actually the yesterday's PPTs. Question is ನೋಡಿ.
Okay, why is the adder class was twice? Okay, class name is adder, and the block of the adder, this one block is being closed here. This is first block, and the second block is this. So this block is completely a different block for class, and this is for the main. This block deals with the mains of our class, and this is about the adder class. So both are open and closed. It should be in the open flower bracket and closed flower bracket. Public and private both in the same program to encapsulate the data and wrapping a single unit, that is the answer get total.
Any other questions?
One more thing I will add here is, see here the class name is adder, correct? So class name is adder. I'm creating an object of class for the second block, where here I'm opening the main and second block is the adder is a class, but I'm not using adder directly. I'm invoking the adder as a. A means what? I'm creating an object of that adder as a. So once I use this a, and coming segment or coming syntax, wherever you want to initialize, you have to use a only, not the adder. When you create an object of the adder, then what happens? Your adder is not, no more adder. It should be called as a. So you have to initialize a each time when the value is assigned number of times. I'm having one more queries, that is, please tell something about forward declaration of the class. See, class, we have public, class we have public, and the adder is the class name. Forward declaration is nothing but the declaring the variable in the beginning stage of the program. I mean to say, when you are using this public, you have to declare your class here only. You cannot declare the class in the second segment here as class name as adder. The whenever you start the program for encapsulation, the class adder should be declared here, and that will be shown on the private and public access specifier. Second one is the main. Their main will take the instance of the class name, that is adder, and create an object of that adder as a. By that, what happens? The coming whatever you use, that should be a.
Hope the query has been clear. Any other questions? Don't hesitate to ask the questions. If it is a silly question also, please go ahead and ask.
No issues. You can ask questions related to the program.
Thank you. Shall we ending the session? If anyone has any queries, they can ask.
Sir,
Yes, tell me, Joshua.
sir, if I get any queries, so shall I ask you tomorrow?
You can ask tomorrow on the same class.
Sir, if any.
Okay, fine, no issues. Anytime you can ask during the session.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Email also, there is no issue.
You have any big queries also, you can send me a mail so that I can solve it and give you the relevant answer which you wanted.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
So much.
Thank you. screenshot also be taken on the laptop, Joshua. You can use a print screen.
Or you can use the snipping tool in computer accessories.
You can use a snipping tool also in the computer accessories. Any other question? Thank you. I am ending the session.